Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Mallikarjun Kharge, the Congress president, sprung a surprise yesterday by announcing that if India Alliance government is voted to power on 4th June, they will double the quantity of the rations given by the poor, which are currently at 5 kgs by the BJP government under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. So, is this a strategy which has been adopted by Congress and the India Alliance? They will sound more and more populist over the next three phases. But if you compare it with what BJP is saying, now look at what Prime Minister said just 2 days before in an interview to a TV channel. He said that he will quit politics if he indulges in Hindu Muslim narrative. And just 24 hours later, he again started talking about a Muslim budget which Congress will provide. He started saying that 15% of India's budget Congress will allocate to the Muslims. So how does one read these two comparisons? These are sort of, if you talk about the prime minister, I don't know whether to call it a surprise or not, because this is a tried and tested strategy which BJP has adopted by talking about Hindu and Muslim. But the prime minister brazenly saying, and saying it openly in an interview, that I will not indulge in Hindu Muslim politics, but I will quit politics, and then 24 hours later saying the same thing. So, how will one read the strategies of these two parties? Whether it is Congress, will it sound more and more populist as far as these economic measures are concerned, like providing free rations? And will BJP turn more and more communal over the next three phases? We'll try and discuss this and make a sense of what it means in terms of strategy. Joining me now is Javed Ansari, senior journalist and editor. So thank you so much for joining. We have Girish Joshi, who's a senior journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much for joining. TK Rajlakshmi, deputy editor with the Frontline. Thank you so much, Rajlakshmi. And I'll begin with Javed. So, Javed, how would you really make a sense of what Mallikarjun Kharge all of a sudden announced in the middle of the election, which took everyone by surprise, saying that they will increase the quantity of their rations if India Alliance government is voted to power, and they will provide 10 kgs of rations?
It's a well thought out strategy based on the feedback that they've been receiving from the ground. That look, what are the options before them? They can't match Mr. Modi's fire as far as the Hindu Muslim binary is concerned. That will be playing right into the hands of the BJP, because you can't appear more Hindu than the BJP, and you can't be seen as brazenly siding with the minorities. So that they believe, and they have been told based on the feedback from the ground, that it is the welfare schemes that are being talked about. In fact, the, the Congress party's some of the Congress party's political managers believe that the party is erred by not emphasizing enough the the proposal to transfer a lakh of rupees to every woman, every poor woman's. Uh, they believe that that could be schemes like this could be a game changer, and that's why it, they are now focusing on welfarism, this business of doubling the rations that are given to the Pradhan Mantri Yojana, via the Pradhan Mantri Yojana to the poor. They, and I'm given to understand that going forward in the next three rounds, the focus will be largely on the welfare issues, especially related to women, directly related to women, because the women vote is proving to be the X factor in this election, and they need to focus big time. So, so don't be surprised that in the middle, that in the days that are left now, they come up with something else. They announce another scheme for women. But even if they don't, what they will certainly continue to do is focus, keep the spotlight centered on their welfare schemes and all the promises that are being made, for not just for cash transfer but also for rations and other related welfare measures.
All right. So, Girish, I'll come to you now. We spoke about what Congress would have in its mind, or maybe India Alliance what it could have in its mind. But also, Prime Minister's U-turn is being discussed. And he's totally forgotten about the welfare schemes which his government have provided. There's no mention of that, except for the fact that he's just talking about a Hindu Muslim narrative. Now, yesterday at Didori in Maharashtra, when he was speaking, and addressing the gathering over there, he said that if Congress and India Alliance come to power, they will allocate 15% of the budget to the Muslims. And just 24 hours before, he said that I will not indulge in Hindu Muslim narrative. And if I do, then I'm going to quit politics. So, what would you say to this brazenness by the Prime Minister? And if you compare it with what Kharge's policies will be in the coming days, or what Congress or India Alliance would do as far as these populist measures are concerned?
It's a good thing that he has said that he will quit politics, because otherwise also he has to quit. First thing, he knows the situation.
Hmm.
Now, if you see the loser's mentality, if you study, he will always try and blame the other side. That is his first nature that he always does. If he is going to fail, he will not admit. He will refuse to accept even the reasons for the failures that you give him. That also he doesn't do. So this is a loser's mentality that he has, and he will always change his narratives regularly, which he has done in Gujarat also. Wherever he goes, he picks up a very vital point which is very much connected to the local people there, and he will start speaking on that. I am here, I was here, I have the connect with that place, and he starts doing that. But now ultimately that whole formula, what 10 things which were given to him, he keeps on narrating that he doesn't have the 11th point now to say something. Now, if you see what he said against that, they will give away 15% of your property to Muslims, take away your cows and all. Now, this has been blatantly reported by international magazines, reputed magazines like Time, CNN. Everybody has discussed this. So obviously it is going too far, but he is least bothered. See, if I'll tell you one good example, what when we met farmers, they said that had he been a very reasonable man, instead of coming on television and telling that I am withdrawing the 3 bills that were objected by the farmers, he should have just held a formal meeting with the farmers and said that, oh, they made me really understand where I was wrong, and so I withdraw. That would have earned brownie points to him. But that is not in his nature. He can never do that. Now, if you see recent developments in Gujarat that are happening, they tried to bifurcate, join the Patel community by giving irritating statements for Kshatriyas. Now, this fired so miserably that Patels have now taken it for granted that they are trying to eliminate the Patels also. So, if you see recently the development in IFCO chairmanship and directorship, that was the biggest game that they have lost. That is the number one organization in 300 world cooperatives. Almost 5 crore farmers are directly connected to them. 3,600 mandalis are connected with them, and 60,000 crore worth a unit. So they give a mandate to a man who was very closely related to Amit Shah, but he was badly defeated. 90% votes were gone to Jayesh Radharia. So this defeat, and then they started a narrative telling that this is a compromise to Bhavnagar seat there where they wanted Mansukh Mandaviya to win, and probably this was the thing that they negotiated. But to contradict that, immediately both the chairman and the director came and they said that nothing doing. We will not allow politics and mandates to get into cooperative sector. So the game thing is very clear now. After that, again, Gujko Masol, they have given a mandate, a very powerful man stands there. So in Gujarat also, people have now accepted, and the thing will, I think it will be running so bad that they would not be able to return to Gujarat if they do this way. But they are still not ready to accept the failures. Now, if you see 2016, after what they said, after the demonetization, we have got unemployment maximum in 45 years. And the worst part is military report says, army report says that the Kashmir boys are joining the militants. Now, what worst can you do? Whatever points you were trying to justify for demonetization, they have miserably failed. But then they don't have repentation on that. They won't report. And now I think they have already been sidelined. Even the people, you see something happening in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, people,
Right.
RSS and BJP cadres not coming out. So
Right.
I think he understands, and out of frustration, he's speaking anything, and we can expect much more nonsense from in coming days also.
Okay, so Rajalakshmi, I mean, is this a deliberate strategy by the BJP now to become more and more communal, and to say that Prime Minister is talking without any application of mind or without any thought process? Would that be right, or is it a deliberate strategy on his part to confuse the voters? Talk on one day he will talk something, then on the next day he'll be seen talking something else. Now on day before yesterday, when he was filing his nomination, he said he will quit politics if he indulges in Hindu and Muslim narrative. And then the next day again, he speaks on this. So is he trying to confuse the voters? And that is as part of a deliberate strategy he's doing it.
Yeah, of course, I think it's a part of the overall strategy to say, I think, one thing someday, and then the next day to shift gears, and then to say that that we are not, polarizing. It is the Congress which is polarizing. Okay, look, the Congress is speaking, has an insulted religion and all that. So it can range from myth making to a complete disregard of facts. In fact, whether it's quoting from the Congress, the Congress's manifesto, and sort of saying things which are not there in it at all, right? So it can, I think the goalposts will sort of continue to shift in the coming days also, because obviously I think that the BJP, I don't think they have anything else to say now, in front of the electorate. They have used everything in their armor, in their playbook, and then and that the only thing they can fall back upon, constantly is on this, is to create this little divide, and to say that that we actually bat for the majority of people in this country, which are the Hindus. And whereas it's the Congress which is using all kinds of divisive language and strategy in its programs, in its manifesto, in its campaigns, etc. Now it's really weird, for in fact, of course, we do not know in fact, what are the contents of the letter which Mr. Nadda has sent to the Election Commission. But there have been there have been some random reports that suggest that it's been said that it seems that they have sort of defended, what
Yes, he has
what Mr.
justified it.
Modi
In
has
fact,
said. Yeah,
I, I went through that report where he's basically, Nadda has replied to the election commission justifying all what Modi has
yeah,
said.
yeah,
In fact, he's accused Congress of indulging in a Hindu-Muslim divide, and
exactly,
Congress is anti-Hindu, and for making anti-Hindu remarks, there should be action against Congress. That is what he said in the
exactly.
letter.
Exactly, and saying that it's all factual. What Mr. Modi has said is all
It's
factual.
based on facts.
And yes, so I don't know. This is defending the indefensible in a sense. And for instance, for instance, so the Congress speaks about diversity. It's not about dividing the country. If the Congress says that you can't impose Hindi as a language, as national language, because there are around 700 languages in this country, and even thousands of dialects in this country, and you have to respect that, because in the south, they do not speak Hindi. So I'm saying that if a party, for instance, here the Congress, speaks about the diversity in this country. Okay, it can't be sort of uh, tantamount to creating a north south divide. It can't be sort of interpreted as creating divisiveness, right? And this whole thing about the same thing, this tushtikaran, appeasement, and Muslim budget. I think all these things should be taken cognizance of, by the election commission, because these are not factual at all. These are they're absolute misrepresentations of what political parties have said in the manifestos, including that of the Congress. No party, to our knowledge, has even said that there would be a Muslim budget. Yes, if you say that there is budget for the Waqf board, if you say that there is budget for minorities, because there is minorities commission. Okay, there are different heads under which these things, scholarships. Of course, I think this government has done away with scholarships for Muslim, for Muslim children, if I'm not mistaken. But here, if you make certain allocations for the deprived sections in our society, how does it amount to saying that it is that is appeasement? For that matter, then SC/ST reservations are also appeasement, right? I think there has been an economic basis for having separate budget, separate budgetary heads for sections in a country who are not adequately represented, and where a certain support has to be given. So to that extent, all these things, every democratic government would do it. effort to sort of single out and say, and then to sort of twist the whole thing and say, no, no, I'm talking about the entire poor. I'm not just talking in terms of the Muslims. I mean, in terms of in fact, the number of children, etc. The speech that he gave, in Banswara. So it's a complete, changing of goalposts, and also, denying, what he himself has said. In fact, it's not now. In fact, it was in 2002 itself, when he first made his reference to, हमारे दो और हमारे 25, और उनके 25, sort of referring to the fact that that Muslims have more children, and that is what is, bringing down this country, that is taking this country, backwards, right? So this thing has been there in his speeches constantly. So for now to sort of turn around and be a little chameleon and say, no, 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 I did not mean that, I'm not the one at all, I'm talking about the poor. Okay, okay, when I'm talking about, those people have more children, or that, or that they will take away your resources, even if it's about the poor, it's so offensive. Even if it is, even if he's not saying about Muslims, but he's talking about the poor, it shows how insensitive, of a leader he is. It was way back, in I think 1995 probably, at the ICPD conference, in Cairo, where it was said, that development is the best pill. And it is, BJP ruled state governments which have had a two-child norm, okay, uh, uh, which has effectively prevented people from contesting, on posts, on elected posts, just because they have more than two children. Okay, so here is a government which is not, which has not only been insensitive towards, the minorities, but has also been insensitive, towards the poor. Okay, so I'm saying that, how could he even say that I was not talking about the Muslims, but I'm talking about the poor who have, more children. I mean, this shows an abject, lack of understanding. It shows, contempt for the poor. So it's so shocking. I think, people should be able to see through this hypocrisy, and this,
Right.
and this
No, but
complete insensitiveness.
yeah, so BJP's hypocrisy is quite evident. But what about Congress's stand, Javed, as far as providing free rations is concerned? Is it not something which is like promising the moon? They don't even know whether they are winning or not, but just promising this kind of a thing in the middle of the election. Can Election Commission really do something about it? I mean, can they ask them that, how on earth are you promising this, or something like that? Because we still remember, in the middle of the Chhattisgarh election, Prime Minister announced that we will extend the free ration scheme to the 80 crore population of the country. Yes, you'll have to unmute, Javed. Yeah.
There is a qualitative difference. No government can announce a new policy or announce any policy decisions when the model code of conduct is in place. Here, in the course of an election, you're promising that if you come to power, you will increase the the
The amount of
ration,
ration.
that is the amount of ration that is to be dispersed to the poor. This, this is like a poll promise. This is a poll promise. Then, for that matter, what is the point in having a manifesto also? No,
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
are not announcing a politics. So if they come to power, and all political parties are entitled to make promises. It's another thing whether, if you do a fact check on where that money is going to come from, do they have? In this case, this is not a
Which
direct
means
transfer.
which means this
India,
is a new post, Javed. So which means that this is a new goalpost by the Congress.
well, certainly, like I said in my opening statement, they have now decided to focus on the welfare schemes, on the NYAI, on the 1 lakh rupee transfer. These are issues which they believe will resonate more, rather than talking of more of Adani and Ambani, or of talking of, the threat to federal structure, or because this is not these these two issues that I mentioned, and is not something that affects the Aam Aadmi. People don't relate to it. People can't identify with it. But this question of transfer of increasing the number of increasing the amount of ration to be dispersed, or that 1 lakh rupee scheme, other similar schemes that the guarantees that they have promised, given in certain states, those are things that the welfare schemes that directly affect people relate to it. One of the, you know showstoppers, if I can use that term, was the Ladli Behna scheme in Madhya Pradesh. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, even after demitting office, continues to be hugely popular amongst women. That's because there was a direct cash transfer. People were getting it. So similarly, the Congress appears to have cottoned onto that idea. In fact, if you ask me, they haven't done enough. They keep getting diverted by what the Prime Minister says or what you should focus on your strengths. Focus on issues that people can relate to. There are some issues which should be debated and which are good for Parliament. There are other issues which are meant for electioneering purposes. You should be able to when you are addressing public meetings and you're holding public rallies. Those are
Okay,
issues that have
I
to
may
be addressed.
interrupt you. So, in that sense, like from what you are saying, so which means that Congress and India alliance have stuck to their narrative. They haven't got diverted by BJP or any kind of trap which is laid by the BJP. They haven't got into this communal narrative at all. They haven't bothered to reply it back. But they are sticking on to the Nyay. They are sticking on to the Congress guarantees. Now they are sticking to the welfarism. So, so
Large,
are
largely
yes.
they do tend to sometimes lose sight and go haywire, especially the state leaders. Now the LOP in Maharashtra, he had no business saying what he said. I mean, was he there? Does he have any witnesses? Does he have any evidence of what he's saying? But he will say it. Similarly, Lalu Prasad Yadav promising reservations to the Muslim community. You should never ever talk of this. This is, this they are doing a huge disservice to the minorities by promising something which cannot be implemented. If the constitution does not allow religion based reservations, what is the point of talking about it? One, you're contravening the law. Two, even if you announce it, it will be struck down by the courts. You're raising the hopes of the minorities, and then what will follow is huge disappointment because this cannot be implemented. It will also turn off the majority community, particularly Adivasis, Dalits, SC, STs, who will feel that if uh, another pie is being carved out from our share, from our meager share. So this in no way helps the minorities, and this kind of cheap populism just to get votes is counterproductive. It's not. This is I do not see this. I would not describe this as a welfare measure. This is like playing with the sentiments, misleading minorities, because something that is not allowed. How on earth are you going to provide it? You will go in for tokenism, you will announce it, then after a month the courts will strike it down and you can go and tell people, see, I did it, but what to do? You blame it on the courts. But what is the net result? There is no benefit that accrues to the community that you've promised these reservations. So people should not. And politically, it doesn't make sense. You just play right into the hands of the BJP or your political opponents who are waiting to pounce on you, who describe you as being a pro minority party and anti-Hindu party. You should never be doing this. Both politically, morally, it's just not
Right.
on.
Right. So, Girish, if I may come to you now, and Rajalakshmi. So, over the next three phases, 20th is the next phase, that is the fifth phase, and after that, two more phases left. So, are we going to see this as the dominant theme? BJP's communalism versus India Alliance's welfarism or Congress's welfarism, whatever you call it. So, is that going to be the dominating theme? Do you see anything changing from here on then?
Nilu, if you allow me, I was talking to some advertisement. I think Javed sir would be able to justify whether was a right argument or no. The advertising man says me that negative advertisement is more powerful than the positive one. He gives me two instances. He's telling Rahul Gandhi goes to a very small saloon, barber shop. He has a shaving there and he talks to him and then he gives the card that ये हमारा संकल्प पत्र है इसमें आप देखिए हमने सबके लिए नौकरी और धंधे के लिए कुछ किया है. Well, you just see the clicks that Rahul Gandhi has and what 10 kilo ration Kharge's message is carrying. So whether this is a strategy to talk something more than BJP and get into that we are still there, we are talking this. Is it a part of advertisement that they are trying to, capture the Modi's avenue? Because he told me that possibly this might be a game that add something to BJP and say, so that immediately the even other side comes and tells, "Abhi dekho, wo 10 kilo dene ko taiyar hua." But basically that is getting advertised. But you know that Rahul Gandhi said, definitely that video is going viral. But if you see, compare the views, that is almost about 3 times more than what Rahul Gandhi went to a barber shop. तो टोल अभी उन्होंने वही काम कर दिया है कि जो है वो मोदी जी का ऐड करके कुछ बोलो तो एडवर्टाइजमेंट बहुत लंबा चलता है. तो पॉसिबली इज दैट अ स्ट्रेटजी ऑफ एडवर्टाइजमेंट बाय कांग्रेस?
It
If
could be.
Javed sir can correct me.
I mean, it could be Rahul Gandhi going to a barber shop, and that's good optics. That's
Yeah.
good
Yes.
optics. It plays well to the local sentiment, but that's
But
limited to.
Kharge's message is liked by many.
But Kharge's message is liked by many because it directly affects,
Yes.
the poor,
Yeah.
and it
Poor,
is something which is applicable across the country. This will
Right.
appeal to somebody sitting in Assam and also somebody sitting in Kerala or Tamil Nadu or in my village in Ghazipur. Everybody will relate to it. Rahul Gandhi getting his beard trimmed is fine. It would, it adds to his image, but that's it.
That's what he said, that even that advert. So anyhow, they have got into the limelight with the news because even the Godi media carries that message. Kharge ji ne bola 10 kilo. So this is a strategy that they also follow BJP and
all the
get into it.
papers, all the papers today have reported this 10 kilo ration
Yes,
scheme
yes.
announced by.
But nobody has reported shaving of Rahul Gandhi. So they are also
That
following a
see,
strategy how to claim.
that Rahul Gandhi getting his beard trimmed cannot be a part of poll strategy.
He
That's
was
good optics.
explaining him. He was
That's that's
explaining
that's,
him.
that's
Yes.
just good optics. But
Right.
in fact, if I was a Congress party political manager, I would, just focus, ensure that everybody from Kharge ji, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, all their main players, everybody just focuses on this welfareism, and more
Exactly.
welfare.
Correct.
Is
Right.
so I'm coming to the final question then, Rajlakshmi, to you that
Yeah.
over the next three phases, in terms of strategy, both by the India Alliance and the BJP, what can we expect? Is Prime Minister going to sound more and more communal? It could be or more exacerbating. I don't know how the tone and tenor would be, but are we going to see something on a similar line with BJP getting more and more communal and Congress sounding more and more populist in the next three phases?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say populist, because the India Alliance or the India bloc of parties have stuck to their script of speaking about issues that matter to people, and that is why this 10 kg of grain that has been sort of promised, I think it's going to resonate, because it does relate to people and it affects people on a day-to-day basis, and also given the cost of food items, etc. Cereals are not cheap. I mean, of course, to address nutritional concerns, cereals are not the best way to go about it. But the fact remains is that people are also not able to afford or not able to get enough cereal intake in their lives, and so that if that is taken care of, they can spend their income on other essential food items, etc. So I think the 10 kg thing, it does make a lot of sense to sort of say it in that way. As far as the BJP is concerned, yes, I do not think it has anything left in its arsenal
Hmm.
that it hasn't used. It can't go on talking about Achay Dayan is over now. Okay, it hardly speaks about Vikas. It hardly speaks about Viksit Bharat also, right? So the only thing left is this, and I think it's not only Mr. Modi, but I think everybody else, in the BJP is also going to use the same this polarizing narrative, and also attack the Congress, and especially the Gandhis more. I think it's going to be this whole Shehzada and its Parivarwad and all that is going to come to the fore much more more, I think, belligerently in the
Yes.
coming days, and all kinds of myths and fancy and all those kite flying is going to be done in the next few days also, and completely, in fact, irrespective of the fact whether they actually having any bearing to reality at all or not. What I'm in fact sort of worried is perhaps the EC might sort of come out, with a directive tomorrow that political parties should not promise what they cannot deliver, or that they should give, an
Yes.
undertaking that they
How will
can
you?
That's
deliver.
How
what I
can
had
E-
in mind when I
how will
asked you
EC?
the question.
How can EC determine? How will EC determine what a political party can deliver and cannot?
Exactly, David. But if you
But
remember,
Javed,
it did come out
Lakshmi
with
is
that.
right. You never know what Rajiv Kumar would say.
That's
No
that,
kind of
that
surprises coming from there.
they did that, I think 2 years ago, maybe a year ago, they came out with that complete ridiculous thing that political parties have to say that they have the budget to pay for these things. Arey, but if you're not in government, where's the question of having a
Exactly.
budget?
Hmm. Right.
So yeah.
So I guess we'll have to wait and watch how the three phases, the campaign for the next three phases unfolds. And all eyes, of course, now would be on 20th of May when we'll see the fifth phase of Lok Sabha elections. But in all likelihood, what we have been discussing for the last almost half an hour is that BJP will try and become more and more communal. We probably will see more insinuating campaign by the BJP, more acidic campaign, and Congress and India Alliance, which have stuck to their script so far, will probably sound more welfarist. Thank you so much, Javed Ansari, Girish Joshi, TK Rajlakshmi. It was wonderful having
Thank
you on
you.
the program. And one appeal to the viewers who are watching this discussion: subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to the Federal. Thank you.